Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Commissioner Engelby. My name's Ed McCarthy. I'm the attorney for electropurification. Directly to answer your question, at this time, we're not advocating one way or another. We've maintained a neutral position with respect to regulation by the groundwater districts. The bills that Representative Isaacs filed were in conflict with each other and create some issues. A lawsuit was filed by a group called TESPA, which has put the whole idea in a further murkier, deeper, muddy set of waters. And so right now, EP's not opposed to regulation. They operate in other regulated areas around the state, in other groundwater districts, so they're not afraid of regulation. But at this time, which district would be the best one or appropriate, we haven't taken a position on that one way or another. Both districts have problems with respect to funding and other issues that they've raised. We have, as Kavi said, been cooperating with them. I believe it was in early February or late January Commissioners Court meeting when one of the districts asked the county for funding to help them establish some monitoring sites. Neither of the districts have any real data in this particular area of the county because nobody thought there was water. And when we heard that on the video, watching that meeting, I contacted Judge Cobb's office and on behalf of DP, and we offered to fund $20,000 for funding for equipment to put in monitoring wells. And we had a proposal. They asked to modify that. I think the Barton Springs district currently is taking the lead on that. They've asked to use those funds in a different way, still as part of monitoring, to set up a broader monitoring circle. And so we're working with them on that. I believe that they are currently scoping out and deciding which wells they want to have as monitoring. EP's not having any input on that particular aspect of it. We want them to select them, and then we'll do that funding. And that's a critical part about this. And if I've answered your question, I'd like to jump to something else real quick.
You have, but I guess what you're saying is that you're not opposed, or EP is not opposed to being under the authority of one of the districts.
If we're placed under regulation, we'll comply with the regulations.
Well, then I would have a follow-up question. Then why are you shopping lobbyists across the state? And most of them won't take your project at this point in time because of the controversy surrounding with it. I'm sure you'll find some low-life lobbyists at some point in time to pick this up. But how come y'all are shopping lobbyists across the state? You're going to look me in the eye in this courtroom and tell me you're not? And then so in the interim, you're working through Jackson Walker's law firm that supposedly the low-income poor people of Goforth have the ability to hire one of the largest law firms in this area, one of the more sophisticated law firms in this area, who has a large lobbying branch that was at those natural resources committees, and that was all over the Capitol for the past week. You're going to tell me those things are occurring?
Commissioner, I'm insulted by your comments and I'm embarrassed for you.
Please. Because you can't answer them.
Please, let's don't get personal.
That's not personal. That's actual things that are occurring in our state capitol.
Well, we've got a problem with posting, but we've got to be careful. I caution you, keep it on the facts, best we can.
Well, then I agree with the interpretation for counsel. We are here today to talk about, Judge,
A water study.
a water study.
That's correct.
So therefore, that applies to both the members of this court, right, Judge?
Yes, it does.
And it applies to the public, and to Mr. McCarthy. So before he runs off on a tangent about lawsuits, which have nothing to do with the water study that we're here today, or legislation, I want to make sure that we have a level playing field is all.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Counselor?
Why don't we let electropurification finish their presentation on the water study? As far as the public goes, typically we've given public comment wider latitude, but if it varies outside of the scope of the posting, we typically don't comment on the latitude taken. And that's the suggested course I'd make.
Okay. The water study consistency applies both to the court and to the presenters, correct, Counsel?
I'm sorry.
That consistency is staying on the study is both right. For the court and for the people presenting. Correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Ms. McCarthy, I'll remind you, you are under oath.
Yes, Judge, I appreciate that, and I apologize. I was trying to be responsive to Commissioner Engelby's fee, and I apologize if I went outside.
Let's keep it on the facts. Finish your report, please.
Yes, sir. With